thanks so much for coming, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
So I'm with Ashley and Chanel, and we're here today to talk through kind of what's probably been underlying in our culture and been our experience for years,
Long
for
time.
our
Yeah.
whole lives,
Yeah.
which is this topic of body image, this topic of really how to deal with that as a woman, how to navigate that, how to work through it, our own personal journeys that come along with it. But last week, this whole thing went down with Khloe Kardashian. You guys heard about it, you saw, where an unedited, unfiltered picture, who would have thought, came out, and without her approval, and there was backlash. Everyone was asked to take it down. Her own grandma posted it. I can't imagine that's a smooth situation right now.
Within the family. Grandma, why?
So grandma had to take it down. Everyone that screenshot it or shared it was asked to take it down. And so it was this big thing where it felt like a way bigger deal than it even maybe needed to be.
Yeah.
And then she released this response of really a lot of written words of what her reasoning was behind it, kind of explaining herself. It was just this huge deal, and I think it just points to the fact that body image is such a primary thought for every single person out there. I'm sure especially even more so for celebrities that are critiqued and criticized on a daily basis, especially for a family like theirs, but it was just a really interesting situation, and so I'm really glad that we get to come together and talk today about our take on that, and even our experience with body image and what we think of that, because we have this unique perspective of seeing it through a different lens, knowing who we are in our identity. But that doesn't separate us from culture. That doesn't separate us from oh yeah, actually I never struggled with that. We do. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And before we even get into the questions, did you guys have any thoughts on the Kardashian situation specifically? Any takes or things that you wanted to share?
I mean, I'm gonna be real. I didn't even think about it, or I don't really follow the Kardashian family, so this is something that I had to search even farther into. And so it was just surprising to me. They're very obviously well known from Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and I feel like they're in everything now. There's so many of them; they're all over the place. But yeah, I actually had to really look into this, and just the fact that we're talking about, or this whole thing started over a photo, and then it was hard for me to even find the photo. Of course, it's still up places, even though they asked people to take it down. People are still gonna be, I don't know, weird about it, and they think that they have the right to that photo just because it was online. And so I'm gonna take it, and I have that screenshot, and now I don't know if they want to hold it over someone or do whatever. And so it took me a little while, but I was surprised at the photo. I thought it was gonna be, because when we talk about body image or we look at unflattering angles or whatever we want to talk about,
which we all have our own definition.
Oh, totally, yes, yeah. And so I thought it was something whenever I slump over and turn my head and all I look hunched over, and I don't look or a celebrity should look standing up, doing whatever. Not saying that they all have to look like that, but just it's the opposite of this hunched over thing. When I saw the photo, I was surprised because it's her standing very naturally. She's throwing up she looks great. She looks fantastic. I think she's throwing up a peace sign or whatever, holding her phone. She just looks like a regular, natural person. And so I was even surprised at just how regular and normal the photo looked. And I was really confused as to why there was so much uproar about all of this stuff. I just didn't understand.
Totally. It was really interesting. So in her response, she wrote out this huge thing. It was 5 carousel slides on Instagram. But she also her response was to release a live video of herself with minimal to no clothing, proving her body, proving herself. And that part made me so sad because I was girl, you don't have to prove anything. You don't have to to come back from any criticism or feedback that you got from that picture. This does not get you the win. This doesn't this still isn't getting you what you want, which is like people to lay off and people to appreciate the work that you've done, the discipline that you've had, or whatever.
Because now it feels like you're even trying to overcompensate for all of these sorts of things.
And it perpetuates the cycle of like, I don't have anything to prove, but I feel like I have something to prove, so I'm going to try and prove it. And like, then you're mad when people like don't like it or criticize what's put out there. So that made me sad, because I was like, man, there's no win in that. There's no like, okay, like now people will appreciate me, or now people will like relax. Like it's just going to continue like in that cycle. Did you have any thoughts?
I was also just confused on like when I saw the pictures. She's so pretty. Like what the heck? I'm like, I wish you just left it alone. Yeah. Because then it would make us normal people feel normal. Like it was a nice picture by the pool. Nothing. It was innocent. Her grandma took the photo. Fun time, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was at like a family function too. So those are normal photos for people to take.
My grandma has taken
so many.
Honestly, sometimes it's like when you ask someone else to take a picture, they get like the weirdest, like when you're in the middle of a sneeze, or like you blink and your eyes are like halfway open. So,
it definitely like only proved the point that like no matter who you are, how much money you have, like you're gonna always struggle with something, and like there's only so much like you can do. That's why we have to give our identities to, like our identities in Jesus, and if it's not, you're gonna keep going on this hamster wheel. Where's my identity? I'm this, I'm that. You know, when that's not. Yeah, that made me sad.
Yeah, totally. So